Excuse me. Hey everyone, this is Shad. Shad's Thoughts. Joining me is Annie. This is Shad's Thoughts, episode 4, Cats, and how I came to become a cat person. And, well, for the longest time, I was always, I had dogs growing up, but I remember one day, I came home from school one day, and I saw my older brother, sitting on the couch with a cat in his lap. And the cat, we named her Lucky. I don't remember the whole story of how we got Lucky, but she was a cat, one of the first cats that I grew up with. And she basically, I wouldn't say she was feral, but she did have a mean streak to her. But nonetheless, she was, on an average cat. I wouldn't say good or bad. And over the years, Lucky had kittens. And I remember the first litter that Lucky had, we kept one of the kittens, because they looked like Lucky. And because this little kitten had a bobtail, we named this cat Bob. This kitten we named Bob. And Bob was an amazing cat. Now, remember, this was the 90s, by the way. A long time ago. And the thing about Bob is that Bob was a trekker. He must have been a trekker in a past life, because every time my family and I would watch Star Trek, Bob would be on the arm of the couch and would watch with us. It didn't matter if it was The Next Generation, the original series, Deep Space Nine, and at that point, Voyager. Bob was always on the arm of the couch and didn't move until the show was done. Didn't matter if it was original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, or at that point, Voyager. Bob, he would always, he would just mind his own business. He would just sit on the arm of the couch. And he would just, he would come when you'd call him by name. But then one night, I should say, Bob started acting, a little uncat-like. And just started drinking water like non-stop. Until Bob, I'm not going to say it here because I'm drinking a soda. I'm drinking a Coke right here. I'm in Florida, by the way, if anyone's asking. And, the next day, Bob wasn't getting any better. And my dad and my brother and my older brother, the same brother that had Lucky that one time, saw Bob, go back into my parents' room, because that was where Bob was born, and one could say it was, in a sense, a bookends ending for Bob, because Bob, a few feet from where he was born, Bob started convulsing and then fell over dead. And then Mom was upset. And then the next time Lucky got pregnant and had a second litter, we decided to keep one of the kittens from that litter, and the kitten we kept was named Scratch. Scratch was the name my mom came up with because, in a sense, we were starting from scratch all over again. Now, Bob lived for about maybe 4 years, 5 years, I don't know. But Scratch lived for maybe from I'm going to say maybe 6 or 7 years. And the one thing I remember about Scratch was he was a big, big tabby cat. I forgot to mention that Lucky, Bob, and subsequently Scratch were all tabby cats. And Scratch was a big cat. Very big, far bigger than Bob. But the one thing that was pretty funny about Scratch is that he had the wimpiest meow of any cat I ever heard. For a cat of his size, he had the wimpiest meow I'd ever hear. And it was kind of silly. It was funny, silly, whatever you want to call it. But I had, memories of Scratch. And anyways, unfortunately, Scratch met his end one day. I think it was like 2004, 2005, or 2006. Around that time, I think it was around 2008. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was like 2004 that Scratch died. Yeah, Scratch died in 2004, I remember. And what happened was, my mom let Scratch out one night, I should say, and it wasn't raining at first, but later on it started raining, and then Mom got worried about Scratch. Now, Mom always let Scratch out, and it started thunder and lightning and everything. And then one day my dad, my brother, one of my other brothers, I have 2 older brothers, by the way, the second brother I had, and my dad, they went out looking for Scratch, and they found him in what was the old dog pen, and Scratch was just, standing there still. And apparently, needless to say, Scratch had crossed the Rainbow Bridge. I never forgot how sad my mom was. She cried. I never saw my mom cry that hard in her entire life. I can still hear her crying to this day. I can still imagine her. I can still hear her break down sobbing and crying, and my mother has been dead for 7 years, mind you, and I still remember how hard she cried. Because we all loved Scratch. And then, one day, I think it was like 2007, 2008, I believe. 1 second, Evie needs Annie. Well, anyways, 2008, I believe. I think it was like 2006 or something. I don't remember. My mom one day comes home with this big giant honking box. So big you could literally fit a person in there. And anyways, I look inside this box that she brought home one day, and I saw the tiniest little kitten in there. Apparently my mom had found this kitten at Evergreen Cemetery. It was like a lonely little cat that, was meowing, separated from its parents and things like that. And we saved this little kitten. Or my mom did, and some people saved it and brought it home. And the cat was named Evie because it was found in Evergreen Cemetery. Ironic that this kitten would begin its life in a place where people are buried. But anyways, I think it was 2005. Yeah, that's right. It was 2005 that we got Evie, because in August of 2005, Lucky died at the ripe old age of 14. And meaning that all we had was one cat in the way of Evie. And the one thing about Evie that I remember was that she always had a habit of galloping through the house. And she had, tufts on her paws. And another thing I remember of Annie is every time she would stand, she would curl up her tail across her feet. And my mom often said that Evie was very dainty in her stance. A dainty little cat. Because, Evie was a tiny cat. Very skinny cat. Anyways, we had Evie for 8 years. And Evie, unfortunately got an ear infection in 2013. And I remember, Evie was just, we would try cleaning out her ears, pouring down all the ear medicine we could, because there was a lot of dry blood in her ears, and we tried everything we could. Unfortunately, it was no use. And my parents had gone to Oregon for vacation at the time, meaning that me and my brother, like I said, I have two brothers, one, the brother that still lived at home at the time, and my other brother that had moved to Oregon at the time. Let's just say that while my parents were away, Evie just sat in the corner of my bedroom near my closet. And she's just laying there. And it's only, trying to comfort her for her last moments. Then one morning I wake up. And Evie was stiff as a board. And I'm looking over in the corner where Evie had, where she died. And to this day, I can't look at the front of my closet the same without knowing that this is where Evie died. Then, 2 months later, my dad says to my mom, hey, would you want, would you want another cat? So they look on Craigslist, and they find a cat owner that had a litter of kittens that they needed, that needed homes, and this was a cat person, by the way. And my mom said that of all the kittens that were there, the one kitten that always followed her, there was one kitten that followed her around. And my mom's like, I think this cat wants to be with me. The kitten in question that my mom took home that day, or brought home rather that day, Annie. That was the day that Annie came home anyway. And every year I celebrate Annie's birthday on June 1st because that's basically how the traditional birth date I've given Annie is June 1st. And Annie has appeared in a number of my ASMR videos, and at times Annie can be annoying, but I love her very much, and she is my cat. And as long as Annie is here, I'm going to make videos about her, and you will see Annie. In fact, you saw her earlier in this video, and that's the reason why I made this video about cats. And why this video is called My History with Cats. Or Cats Through the Years, I don't know. But anyways, this is Shad, signing off.